No, that's a good like push on yourself too, because I think it's really easy to get comfortable with what you're doing and have that fear of like reaching the next level and going for it. Like with leveling up who you're working with and stuff, because you almost feel like in a way you have to like bring another level to it if you're going to work with those people. And I think especially as a producer, I think when you're in control of the whole song, it's easy to be like, all right, I gotta get this done, and like you only have to rely on yourself. But as a producer, there's like a lot of other pieces where you got to rely on this artist to like get their verse and this artist to get their verse. And I think it almost becomes harder in a sense because you have to like not push the buck on it. You can't be like, oh, this artist didn't get me my verse back, so I'm not getting this song out. You have to like go out to another artist and see if they'll do this song to get this song out. Where do you think that piece comes of it? Where a lot of people are super ready to like push the blame on like not getting something out because it's easy to do because there's a million factors. But
Yeah.
you kind of you obviously if you put out 8 songs in 8 months, you've been pretty accountable with yourself of like I'm gonna make sure this gets out as the producer on it.
Yeah. I mean, I would say the biggest key is never be working on like the next song. Like be working on like 3 songs out, you know? So like right now I just dropped the one, with Jared Anthony. The next two are already done. Done, finished, bow on top, you know? So
Yeah.
now I'm working on the third one out. So then that way, if there's delays or the artist, is gone for a week and they didn't get it to you when they thought, or the cover art artist isn't getting, whatever it is, you have that buffer. So it's like you have 2 whole songs, 2 months of buffer to work with. So if something gets pushed out, you have that time. And that's something that I've learned. Last year I wanted to put out more than 4 songs, but I didn't do that. It was just song comes out. Okay, what's my next song? Now I'm going to start working on it, and then there's delays and it takes 2, 3 months to make a song where, if a song's coming out, you know, this month, that one that I just released, Cardiac Arrest, I think we finished that song. It was like 2 or 3 months ago.
Yeah.
So I definitely think it's just always thinking ahead and doing a lot of diligent planning.
And I think that's what a lot of the social media stuff, like songs, releases, and everything comes down to like decrease the stress levels with it. Like when I was just seeing a video the other day about I think it was Cato that did the video, and he was saying about how like everyone complains about putting out social media stuff or different pieces that go into making music these in the era that we're in right now. And if you can like plan ahead, then it decreases the stress of feeling like I'm tied to this current schedule that I'm on because you're ahead of it and you feel like you're creating more out of a um, creative mindset versus like a timeline mindset where you're like, I have to put something out. I don't care about the quality because it has to be out by this
Mhm.
point.
Yeah, I think it's exactly that. It can be used for the songs and social media, and I think if you do it for everything, it's definitely very can be stress free. That's what I try to do is yeah, in the sense of like that's you're not rushing or pushing anything out. You're able to really make sure every song is good because you do have that buffer. So if there's delays and it takes longer to make it perfect, you're able to do that as well as social media. I've watched several people talk about it. It's don't make the promotion for the song when it comes out. Promotion should already be done and made. So when I like in the folder of my phone, I have a in the photos, I have a different folder for every single song I'm making and the promotion videos in there. And they're all made before the song comes out. So then when the song comes out, I'm not making any more promotion for it. I go to the folder, I pick, whatever the video is or, that I'm doing and I upload it. And I mean, there are rare cases, obviously, if you're trying to like jump on a trend that's popping and you want to make a little TikTok of your song, but for the most part, stuff's done. And I do think that is a great way to release or reduce the stress and the urgency of like, oh, I got to make a TikTok today. I got to post something.
I know when I first started this, I would wake up at 3 in the morning on Fridays because that's when like the new music was out, and I would like
Yeah.
try to listen to enough music by my job at 7 so that I can make like 3 pieces of content before going into work so that it would get done. And then you'd
Yeah.
have weeks where there wasn't like any songs that you were really feeling where like you really wanted you like really aligned with, and then you were like, oh, what do I do? And it was just like people also don't care if a song just came out that day. Like I was so tied to like, because I want to know new music when it comes out like that day. I was like, people, someone that hasn't heard a song, like let's say like nobody's heard the song you put out with Hunavi and Benny Main. That's
Mhm.
still like new to them if they heard it today, and it doesn't. You can still promote a song after it's been out for a few months. It's not the end of the world, and like it will still find like new followers that haven't discovered it yet.
Yeah. No, exactly. I think that's a big thing that a lot of artists don't realize is they're like, oh, this song is a year old, 6 months old. Like, I can't promote it. It's like, yeah, but whoever's listening to it has never heard it before. So who cares if it came out today or a year ago? Like, it's still the same song. So that's definitely something like I've kept in mind while promoting like literally what I don't know what it was yesterday or 2 days ago. I was promoting Twilight. Like that song came out 8 months ago. And I was still posting about it.
No, I think that's good, and I think it reminds yourself too that like you stuff like just I think it's hard from like the creation perspective because like you said that song was released 8 months ago, but you were probably working on it a year or more so ago. So in your mind, you're like, I've known about this song for over a year. Like, why would someone want me to post about this? But there's so many people that didn't hear it yet. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and exactly. It's like you got to put your mind in the listener. And it's not that's a big thing about music is obviously the music is yours, but you can't always think about you or your opinion or your view on it. Like people could love that song still. And still to this day I'd say actually Twilight, I mean, it is my biggest song, but to this day I still get comments on YouTube being like, yo, just found this song. Like, I love it. Like, that's so dope or whatever. And it's like, oh, like people are still finding this. People are still, enjoying it.
and that's awesome too. I think that's really cool. Like, I think that's one of the coolest things about putting out music or putting out anything out into whether it's social media or YouTube. Like, it's really hard because the way the world works is for most people, you work 40 hours, you get paid for 40 hours, you have that money from the 40 hours that you can spend on living or whatever. But when you put out a piece of art, whether it's music or a beat or whatever it is, you put it out there, and unless you take it down, it's typically out there forever. And you can have instances where something's out for 6 months and then it catches fire and does way more than you could have ever thought that it would have. So,
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's funny because Devil's Hold, you were actually one of the first people that kind of like found that song and liked it. But that song, I think it only got like 7,000 streams in the first couple months, like first maybe 2 months. And then it caught. Like just randomly one day, it's just like, and
was
now,
it before? Did it catch before I messaged you, or was it after I messaged you?
it was after.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. All right, sweet.
yeah,
Okay.
no, no, it was after. Like you were one of like the first people that like wrote me because when I released that song, that was after Till the Ending and Answers, which both did. I think it was like over 20 or 30,000 streams, both of them. And then that song, only did like 7,000. I'm like, man, like I kind of thought that one was like pretty good. Like you messaged me about it, and I was like, oh, like like people seem to like it, but it's not going. And then yeah, it was like 2 months after, just one day, you just see the listening now, up, and I'm like, oh, what's that about? And then
No.
the stats start coming through, and you're like, wait, hold up, this is like catching, and now it's at like over 100,000, 125,000 or something.
Yeah, I
So
remember being shocked when I found it that it, like I said, that it wasn't the weekend. And then I was like, I don't remember what numbers it was at when I saw it, but I just remember looking at the numbers. I was like, how is this song not bigger? And I was like, I feel like at some point this song's gonna get bigger. I need to message them now so that they know.
yeah,
And I saw it before it got big, but no.
yep, no, you did. I remember it was like you messaged me like pretty quick too. It was probably at like 3,000 streams or something when you
Okay,
messaged
that's
me.
cool.
Like I remember your message was like one of the things because I wouldn't say I was like feeling bad about it, but it was like, like, man, like 12 a.m.'s pretty big. Like, I thought the beat was good. Like, I think the song's good. And then like you messaged me, and like back then I was not getting messages like that, saying I really like your song. Like, that was, few and far between. So when you messaged me that, that was like the beginning of like, you know what, maybe regardless if it gets streams or not, like, I think this song's good.
The worst part about that was I messaged you, and then I think I'd already made the Instagram reel because that was a lot easier to find people on. But then when I
Yeah.
made the TikTok video and I posted it, I did it like at work. And so I didn't realize that I don't remember what exactly it was with the sound, but the sound was like completely wrong. Like it didn't post the audio of the song. And I like went to watch it one day, or like someone said something about it. Someone messaged me and they're like, "Hey, they're gonna put like audio on this song," and I was like, "Wait, what?" I had to like go back and like redo the video because I was like, "Shit, this is so bad."
That's hilarious.
That's
I
what I.
don't remember it, so I'm sure I had to have watched it back then because I got tagged, but I
Yeah.
don't remember that.
That's when I had to start like sometimes I'll like make videos at work, which I really shouldn't do. But but then like you don't get the chance to listen to it, obviously, which yeah, I probably shouldn't
Yeah.
say that during a podcast, but sometimes that happens. Just in case
That's
somebody
all right.
yeah. But no, I mean I'm really glad like full circle. I've noticed that like I mean I really love when I message someone. Obviously someone that I'm like listening to the first time and we like connect and do the interview right away, but I realized this year I've done it a few times where I've like known the artist for like almost I mean that when did Devil's Hold come out? It was probably like a year ago, right? Maybe a little bit.
I think it was June of last year,
Okay.
so about
Yeah.
4 months.
I feel like it's almost better when I like find an artist, listen to their stuff for like a year, and then do the interview because it's like I can listen. I mean, I always try whenever I'm going to interview someone to listen to everything they have out, and I can do that like over a weekend usually. But like if you try to like digest an entire discography in a weekend, yeah, you're going to listen to all the songs, but you're probably not going to pick out everything that you could if you
Yeah,
actually
and
sat
especially
with
if they're all like first time listen throughs, where if you
it. Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
get a listen as they come out and then go back and listen, you're gonna understand more.
No, and there's so much stuff like I think about so much stuff you put out in the last year. Like I think "Runaway" is probably my favorite song that you've put out, which is so funny because I remember you messaged me when it came out. You're like, "Hey, share this," and I was like, I hadn't heard it before you messaged me, and I was like, this would have like I mean, even if you hadn't messaged me, I would have for sure made a video about it because I don't remember what week that was, but I remember thinking like this is my favorite song of the week, and I was like on my way home from work and like took a video of the sunset and just threw the song on. I was like, this is such a good song. I was like, but if we had
Yeah,
done the interview before, it would have the song wouldn't have been made yet. So
yeah, no, yeah, that's actually one of my favorite songs I put out. That was a really fun song to make for sure, and that one was like that is one of the ones that I personally listen to the most. When I'm just listening to my own stuff. So I agree with you. That's a pretty good one.
that's cool. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with your fans before we wrap this up?
Um, I would just say, like, honestly, I would just like to thank everyone for listening because it's like super surreal. Like every day, I get to wake up and make music and people listens to it, which is was not a reality for a long time. So the fact that anyone that leaves a message or leaves a comment or says that it made their day or it's their new favorite song, I mean that just means the world to me every time I see one of those comments or messages. And just I'm gonna keep releasing music. You know, gonna release multiple tracks still this year, and just thank you everyone for listening and enjoying my stuff.
Well, thank you so much for taking time on your day. This is really awesome. We got to sit down and chat. I know you've supported a bunch of stuff that I've put out, and I've enjoyed getting to listen to the stuff that you've put out. So I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, this is honestly a lot of fun and awesome, and I'm really glad we got to do this. I was like, even before you messaged me about doing this, I was like, yeah, I want to do that. Like
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
dope. So yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah. You have a good rest of your day, okay?
Yeah, you too. Have a good day.
All right.